They saw him lying face down across the sidewalk. He was just a kid, no more than 13, when it all fell apart. You're watching an unbelievable true story, where we only tell real stories. Not to scare you, but to prepare you. This happened in Central California in the summer of 2025. Oscar Omar Hernandez, 13, was walking home from his friend's house. He was only 5 steps from safety, just one short block from the front door of his house, when someone stepped out of a black van and grabbed him. Oscar wasn't a hero. He was a regular kid, liked video games, tacos, and football. He didn't hurt anyone. But that day, everything changed. Police say most predators are people you already know. 80% of abuse cases involve someone the victim already knows. Most people freeze, not because they're too weak, but because they've never been trained. Oscar didn't see it coming. 1 minute, he thought he was safe. The next, chaos. A rough hand on his shoulder. A truck door slamming. That vent sped off before anyone could react. It ended with a neighbor calling 911, panicked and screaming. Oscar, shaken, scared, was found but forever changed. Every 40 seconds, a child is abducted. You hear that? Clock's ticking. Not to scare you, but to show how fragile safe really is. We linked a family safety course in the description and first pin comment. It teaches kids and parents what to do if something feels wrong. How to escape, speak up, and protect each other. Most danger comes from people kids already know. This course shows how to spot it and stop it. Now stay with me, because we're about to break down who did it, how they got away, and what one move changed everything. Let's get into the full story. He was 13 years old. He loved video games, especially soccer games. He loved tacos and hot sauce. He was small but tough. He loved his little sister. He would tell silly jokes at dinner. He was always cracking people up, even himself. He said he wanted to be a firefighter one day. That's who he was. We care because he was a real kid. He had dreams. He was like somebody's kid. It was a dry summer evening in a quiet California suburb. Homes with small lawns, a few palm trees, the sun setting, sky orange then purple. It was around 7 p.m. The air still felt warm, heavy like a blanket. Some lawns had sprinklers out. A dog barked now and then. Birds quieted down. Oscar had just left his friend's house. He walked fast. He wanted to get home before dark. Mom was waiting with dinner. The streetlights had not come on yet. Oscar's friend dropped him off at the corner. He had on a red baseball cap, favorite sneakers, white with black stripes. He held his phone, maybe reading a text. Be right home, or let's play tomorrow. He didn't see the black van idling across the street, doors shut, engine humming. He heard nothing but his own footsteps. He didn't know someone was watching. Oscar turned off the corner, 5 steps from home. That's when he felt a hand clamp his shoulder. The world tipped. He heard the van door slam, metal clang, the smell of rubber, hot pavement, fear. He tried to pull away, but the grip was tight. He felt breath, cold, angry. A voice low, quiet. His heart pounded. His belly felt sick. He kicked at the hand. The voice hissed. He could see the sky and street lamp pole swinging up and down. He heard his own heartbeat like a drum. He tried to scream, but his words got stuck. Then the van door slid shut. He was pushed. The van lurched. Tires screeched. The street shrank behind him. His knees scraped the pavement. He saw his cap left behind. That moment stretched. Sounds, smells, terror. That was the moment it all went wrong. A neighbor named Mrs. Thompson heard the cry. She rushed out in her slippers. She saw the whole thing. Her phone unlocked, trembling fingers. She called 911. A child, help, she said. Police came fast. Flashing lights. Sirens. Neighbors in their doors, in pajamas. The street filled with noise, radios, people whispering. They found Oscar pulled to safety. He was shaking, bruised, but alive. Paramedics checked him. His face was pale, eyes wide. I ran, he whispered. They looked down the street. The van was gone. Then they showed Oscar photos of suspects. He pointed to one, a guy right in the neighborhood. Police knocked on doors. They searched car wash records. They found the van, parked in a garage a few blocks away. They arrested a man that night. He had no excuse. He had no alibi. Every 40 seconds, a child is abducted in the U.S., NCMEC 2023. That's a child pulled from life, torn from joy, in the time it takes you to blink. Oscar's story is not rare. It is real. It is urgent. That's why we added a family safety course in the description and pinned comment. It teaches kids and parents what to do if something feels wrong, how to escape, speak up, and protect each other. Oscar is home. He's quiet. He draws pictures, fire trucks smiling. His parents hug him more now. He talks about going back to school. He says one day he will wear that hat again and walk home brave. You ever see a kid look older overnight? That was Oscar after that night. Before, he had this light in his eyes, always joking, always moving. After, there was something in his stare, like he was watching the door, waiting for it to open, like he'd never really feel safe again. Paramedics said he had bruises on his arms and knees, cuts on his palms from hitting the ground. No broken bones, but you don't need x-rays to see a broken night. His mom came running when she heard the sirens. She grabbed him so hard, I thought she'd never let go. She kept saying, mi hijo, over and over. That means my son in Spanish. Oscar's dad stood behind her. He didn't cry, at least not there. He just kept looking down the street like he could pull that van back with his eyes. Detective Cruz was first to talk to Oscar. He crouched down so he was eye level. Said, "Hey, buddy, can you tell me what happened?" Oscar shook his head at first. Then his voice cracked. "It was the man from the store," he said. Everyone froze. The man from the store. Turns out, Oscar had seen this man before. A couple times at the corner store. He worked there for a while, stocking shelves, mopping floors. Always smiled, said, "Hey kid," when Oscar walked by. But here's the thing. Most danger comes from people you already know. That's not me talking. That's the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. They've been saying it for years. And Oscar? He learned that the hard way. Police went straight to that man's house. He lived with his mom. Quiet street, 2 blocks away. They knocked. He answered. Same smile. Same hey. But his hands shook. Inside the garage was a black van. Same dent on the bumper Mrs. Thompson saw. Inside the van, muddy footprints, a torn shoelace, and Oscar's red baseball cap. Game over. They cuffed him right there. Neighbors watched from their porches. No one said a word. Just the sound of metal clicking and a door slamming. They took him in for a checkup. The nurse gave him a blanket. He kept saying, I'm fine. But his voice was flat. The doctor said he was in shock. That means his brain was still catching up to what his body went through. His mom sat in the corner, arms folded, jaw tight. His dad kept pacing the hall. Every so often, he'd stop and stare at the TV, not even watching it, just needing something to look at. The next morning, news vans were outside the house. Reporters called his name. Cameras flashed. Oscar stayed inside. He didn't want the world to see him like that. Police called it an attempted abduction. I call it a warning shot from life. The kind that makes you look at every stranger twice. The kind that changes how you walk down your own street. The DA came and talked to the family. They said, we'll need Oscar to testify. His mom said he's just a boy. But the DA said, he's also the only one who saw him up close. Oscar didn't like that. Didn't like the thought of seeing that man again. But he also didn't want him to hurt someone else. That's a lot to put on a 13-year-old. They told the parents that the man had a record. Not for kids, but for fights, trespassing, petty theft. Small stuff until now. And now, he was looking at years in prison. Every 40 seconds, a child is abducted in the U.S. NCMEC 2023. That's 90 kids before you're done watching a movie. Think about that. When I saw Oscar a week later, he was at the park. He was laughing again, but not loud, like he didn't want to draw too much attention. He stayed close to his sister, close enough to grab her hand if he needed to. The courthouse smelled like coffee and dust. That's where the fight moved next. No more flashing lights, no more van. Now it was all about words. Lawyers with sharp suits, reporters with sharp pens. They said he didn't have to look at the man if he didn't want to. So they put the guy on the other side of the room. Oscar's mom sat in the front row. His dad sat right behind her. When they called Oscar up, you could hear the wood creak under his shoes. He didn't shuffle. He didn't drag his feet. He walked like a boy who knew this was bigger than him. The prosecutor asked, "Do you see the man who grabbed you that night?" Oscar's hand trembled a little as he pointed. "That's him. The defense lawyer stood up, slick hair, shiny tie. He smiled like this was all a mix-up. "Are you sure?" he asked. Oscar didn't even blink. "Yes." The lawyer tried again. "It was dark. You were scared. Maybe you saw someone else?" Oscar leaned forward. "I saw his face. I saw his teeth when he told me to be quiet. That's him." The room went still. Then came the pictures. Police photos of the van. Photos of the muddy prints. And one small plastic bag with Oscar's red baseball cap inside. The prosecutor held it up. "Whose hat is this?" Oscar said, "Mine." And that was that. Detective Cruz had one more thing. Security camera footage from a store down the street. It showed the black van sitting there 15 minutes before the grab. It showed the man at the wheel. It showed him watching the corner where Oscar would walk. The jury saw it twice. The defense didn't have much to say after that. After 2 days of testimony and 1 night of waiting, the jury came back. Guilty on all counts. Attempted abduction. Assault. The judge didn't waste time. 15 years in state prison. Oscar's mom cried. His dad put a hand on his shoulder. Oscar just sat there, breathing slow, like someone had let the air back into the room. They say justice feels good. Sometimes it does, but it doesn't erase the pictures in your head. Oscar still jumped when a van drove by too slow. Still locked the front door twice before bed. Most danger comes from people you already know. That's not rumor. That's from a National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. It's why we added a real family safety course in the description and pin comment. It's made for kids and parents. Shows how to spot danger early. How to escape if you have to. How to protect each other. Where he is now. By fall, Oscar was back in school. Still wearing the same sneakers from that night. Still playing soccer at lunch. But his eyes had that watchful thing. Like he knew the world wasn't all safe. And he wanted his friends to know that too. You ever hear people say, "I knew something was off about him"? That's what the neighbors said after the arrest. Always after. Never before. The man's passed. His name? Police gave it. News printed it. I won't repeat it here. This story is about Oscar. But I will tell you this, he had a file. A file thick enough to slap on a desk and make sound. Petty theft. Trespassing. Breaking into a shed behind a church. All small stuff on paper. But if you look close, there's a pattern. He hung around kids' spots. Basketball courts, corner stores, arcades. Always just watching. Never enough for police to make a case. But enough to make you uneasy if you were paying attention. One neighbor remembered a night 2 years ago. Said she saw him talking to a boy at the park after dark. Didn't think much of it. Said she told herself, maybe he's just being friendly. Another man said he once saw that van parked by the school fence. Engine off. Lights off. Said he thought, weird, but then kept walking. That's how it happens. You see something. You feel that small twist in your gut. And you tell yourself it's nothing. Police later found out he'd been questioned in another county. A girl, 10 years old, said a man tried to talk her into his car. The sketch looked a lot like him. But there wasn't enough proof, so he walked. And when people like that walk, they don't walk straight. They circle back. And one day, that circle hit Oscar Street. Detective Cruz told a reporter, "These guys don't start with a big grab. They test first. They see what they can get away with." It made sense. This man didn't just wake up one morning and say, "Today I'll grab a kid." He'd been moving toward that line for years. And nobody stopped him until now. When Oscar found out about the man's past, he got quiet. Then he said, "So, he was always like this?" His dad nodded. Oscar stared at the floor for a long time. You could see the weight of that truth settle on his shoulders. The idea that this wasn't bad luck. This was a storm that had been building, and he just happened to be standing in the wrong spot when it broke. That's the part that sticks with me. The close calls we never hear about. The people who almost got caught, but didn't. The kids who don't even know how close it came. And every 40 seconds in the U.S., another child is pulled from safety. NCMEC 2023. That clock doesn't stop when we stop thinking about it. Oscar's family now. They moved his little sister to a different school. They keep the blinds closed at night. They added cameras to the front porch. And they talk every single day about what to do if someone tries something again. That family safety course we linked in the description and pinned comment, yeah, they took it. Oscar said the first lesson made him realize he'd done one thing right. He fought back. It bought him those few seconds. Seconds that brought the neighbor outside. Seconds that saved him. The night before it happened, nothing felt strange. Oscar was at the kitchen table doing homework. His little sister was on the floor coloring. The TV was on low, some game show his mom liked. His dad was fixing a squeaky door in the hallway. You know, the kind of night, quiet, safe, ordinary. Nobody thinks danger's circling on nights like that. After dinner, Oscar's mom asked, "You walking to your friends tomorrow? Or you want to ride?" Oscar laughed. "It's only a few blocks, Mom." She let it go. That choice, 3 seconds of conversation, would put him on the street the next evening. The man's movements. While they were eating tacos, that man was sitting in his van 2 streets over. He wasn't in a hurry. He watched the lights in the windows. He'd seen Oscar before. He knew his route. Oscar left for school in a good mood. He wore his red baseball cap, the one with the frayed bill. Met up with friends, joked around. He had no idea he'd be wearing that same hat when everything went wrong. School let out at 3. Oscar stayed a little late to play soccer in the yard. Scored a goal. High-fived his buddies. He was 13. Life was still about games and snacks. By 6:45 p.m., Oscar was at his friend's house, just a block away. They played video games until the sun started dipping. Oscar checked his phone. 1 text from his mom. "Dinner ready soon." He said goodbye, stepped outside, and headed home. The man's van rolled onto the street at 6:55 p.m., idled at the corner. Engine running. Lights off. Oscar turned that corner at 6:57. 5 steps from his own front yard. He felt that hand on his shoulder. And here we are again. The smell of hot asphalt, the slam of the van door, the grip that wouldn't let go. But this time, you know what came before. You know how normal it all felt. And that's what makes it worse. You don't see danger coming with flashing signs. It slips in on quiet nights in normal routines. It parks at the corner and waits. Every 40 seconds, a child in the U.S. is abducted. NCMEC 2023. That's not a scare line. It's a clock you can't stop by looking away. Oscar's walking again. He laughs more now, but he keeps his head up, eyes scanning, steps quick. He's a kid who knows the world can turn in 1 heartbeat. That's why his family, and mine, took that safety course we linked in the description and pin comment. 1 hour of training might be the thing that keeps another van door from slamming shut.